Another novel has been introduced to the Burtonverse. Hey booktubers, this is Kevin D. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net, and this is technically a first for this channel. I am actually going to be reviewing a book. The book was provided to me free by Random House. I want to thank them for giving me the book, and I never really thought I would be talking about books on this channel, but believe it or not, that's kind of what I do on the weekends. I know most of you probably think I just watch movies and play video games during the weekends, but the truth is I spend time with my dog and I read books. And so even though I was given an advance copy of the newest book, Batman Revolution, I couldn't finish it until yesterday by the time of this recording because I got really sick the weekend, so that's a bummer. But anyway, as you can see, this is a very nice looking book. There's a lot of green on it, and they are, putting a bunch of question marks all over the book. So you can probably figure out who the villain of this book is. But for those of you who are not aware of what this is actually a sequel to a book called Batman Resurrection, which was a direct sequel to Tim Burton's Batman movie. Don't trust my dog. For the record, pugs are wonderful dogs, but they are also super annoying and they're like children. You can't trust them at all. So anyway, as I was saying, this is actually a sequel to a book I have not read called Batman Resurrection, which was a direct sequel to Tim Burton's Batman movie from 1989. Now, I don't know what that book was like. Again, I didn't read it. I wasn't sent that one. I was just sent this. I didn't even know this was a thing. But I'm gonna be honest, I really enjoyed this one. This was a huge page turner. And even though I'm not entirely sure if this is what Tim Burton himself would have done with his movies, it is really nice to have a book that has many of the Tim Burton characters, or at least characters that were made popular in the Tim Burton movies, getting a continuation of the story. So for example, Knox, the reporter from Batman, plays a huge role in this book, as does Selina Kyle and Max Schreck, who is not quite a politician yet, but he's definitely looking to insert himself into major events. And there's a lot that goes on in this book, to the point where it's like, I almost don't want to discuss too much of it because I would be spoiling some very significant story elements, as well as giving away some really cool twists. But since the book is, kind of giving away at least one of those questions, if you know what I mean, I kind of wonder which one it is. Well, I'm going to talk about that one, and that is the fact that yes, the Riddler is pretty much the main antagonist in the book. Although I have to be honest, first of all, he doesn't show up until, at least as the Riddler character, for more than half the book. It does some very interesting things, like Edward Nygma is not his name. His real name is Norman Pincus, and Edward Nygma is a pen name he uses for a newspaper article that he writes, and that Norman Pincus actually wants to be a good guy. He actually looks at what Batman does and is inspired by Batman to solve clues and fight crime, and he wants to be a real partner to Batman. And he doesn't want it for the glory or the money or anything. It's just, he has a skill set and he feels he could use it to help Batman. And the main conflict first comes in the fact that Batman, frankly, doesn't need his expertise. He gives him a little bit of information in his head, but Batman probably would have figured it out in the end anyway, and that actually rubs Norman Pincus the wrong way, because why wouldn't it? He is someone who does not have the greatest job. He writes a newspaper column for which he's not even personally credited for. He doesn't make a lot of money. His mother's sick. She refuses all forms of government assistance and a class action lawsuit that would help them out of their situation. And the only thing he really has is his mind, and to find out that someone might even be smarter than him really rubs him the wrong way. And yes, in case you were wondering, this means that the Batman Forever and Batman and Robin movies are officially no longer in the Burtonverse. even though it should be noted Tim Burton actually produced Batman Forever. So a little bit of a gray area there. I personally still see Jim Carrey in the role because Jim Carrey has range as an actor, so I could see him doing the far more low-key and serious nature of this version of Riddler compared to the flamboyant, just, you know, totally off-the-wall performance in Batman Forever. And this is not a light read. This is almost 600 pages, but here's the thing, like no bad movie is too short and no good movie is too long. A really great book is also not too long. This was a page turner. Like I was like pretty much glued, and the only reason I stopped reading it for a few days was because I got sick. And you know, even though reading is not exactly the most taxing job in the world or the most taxing thing you can do, it, you know, I just had to rest. And while I was resting, I just couldn't wait to get back to this book and find out what happened next. And so here's the thing, even though this has some pitfalls for people who have not seen the Tim Burton Batman movies, although who hasn't seen the Tim Burton Batman movies at this point, it is a very strong read. It is very well written. You know, I've never gotten a Batman novel before. I don't think I've ever read a superhero book before. Like, not that I feel like what's the point, but it's like, you know, if you're going to read the superhero stuff, you're usually going to read the comics. I'm subscribed to the comics apps. So the idea of picking up a Batman book never crossed my mind. And if Random House didn't send it to me, I probably would have never read it. But I'm really glad they did, because not only did I really enjoy this, I'm actually going to go back to Batman Resurrection and I'm going to pick that one up and read it. And it's, you know, because this was just such an entertaining read. And I like how it takes place from multiple points of view. So it's not just Bruce Wayne, it's not just Riddler, it's not just one of the other villains that shows up that I didn't expect. It covers a variety of characters. And you know what, even though you obviously can't see what's going on, the way things are described, I kind of felt like I was brought right back into the Burton world. So even though, what girl? Am I not paying attention to you? Am I not paying attention to you? Am I not paying enough attention to you? Do I edit this out or do I leave it in? I don't even remember where I was, but needless to say, for my first booktube video, which, you know, we're not going to completely change the channel. We're still going to be talking about movies and video games and stuff, but I think every other Friday or so, I'd like to talk about books that I've read. And for my first book recommendation, I think this is a really good one. Instead of doing the 5-star grade, let's do the letter grading for this. I give Batman Revolution an A. This was a very good read. Now, here's the thing. If you're not a Batman fan, of course, I'm not going to necessarily recommend you pick this up. I don't even know if this is the best Batman book out there, because I've never really gotten a Batman book before outside of comics. But I do have to say, as someone who likes the Tim Burton movies and really likes what John Jackson Miller was doing with this was a great read, and I can't wait to read the first book, and apparently there's going to be one more, and I can't wait to read that one either. And I would like to know what all of you think of this book if you've read it, so comment below, let me know, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.
Hey, you made it to the end. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Just a few more things. First of all, the names that you see on the screen, these are our Patreon and YouTube member supporters, and I thank each and every one of them. Their support helps me make exclusive videos for Patreon and YouTube members, as well as keep the channel running, and of course is just of huge kindness to me. Also, don't forget to check out the iCritic-led podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, Deezer, whatever podcasting service you listen to, it is there. We definitely want to see you there. And hey, there's also other videos that you can check out. So, you know, check out these other channels, these other videos, especially that one. I think that's a really good one.